Hey, good Thursday morning to the Wingman Merch crew. I'm just here to give you your Thursday dose of encouragement. And I really wanted to start with two things. I titled this with Realistic Expectations and Grace. And you might be wondering, what I mean or how those two things work together. Um, so I just wanted to go back, and I really appreciated that Nate had posted a day or two ago about how much he and Stephen love the community and really want to continue to help this group in as many ways as they can. And so he had this post about what do you feel is holding you back. And I really appreciated, first of all, the couple of people that did respond to that. And if you haven't responded already, I would really encourage you to do so, because this is a great way to get not only encouragement, but answers to maybe some problems that you're having or some issues that you're having or some roadblocks that you're having that you can find a way to get past. But I wanted to touch on a couple of things here. Um, you know, we often, when we start the merch journey, one of the things that we, I guess, think about is, how, I can't think of the word, but how wonderful it sounds to be able to just put up, these designs and not have any, money put into the process or anything like that. And then, we have this possibility for great net profits and a good continuing income. And those things are all true. And it's one of the real beauties of merch is that it's a really easy way to get your feet wet in the Amazon world or e-commerce world. And it's a really great way to do it without putting a lot of money into it. But there are skill sets that you need to learn, of course. And, you come to the right place for being able to learn that, in my opinion, anyway. But, it still doesn't, it means that you're still going to have challenges. It's going to happen anytime you're learning something new and there's a new skill set involved. You do have to figure that there's going to be something that'll come up along the way, or at least it always does for me. And so I wanted to touch base a little bit on realistic expectations. And so one of the posts that I saw here was that about Tasneem, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right, that you had put up 10 designs on merch and didn't have anything that sold, and you found that very discouraging. And I totally get it. I've been there, when I first started on merch, and I still have a long way to go. I'm at tier 500 right now. But, getting out of those first tiers, that is the hardest. So that's the first bit of encouragement I want to give you. You're in the hardest place right now. So if you just dig down and find that grit inside and continue to work past that, you'll get to the points where it's easier. This is the learning curve. This is where Amazon is still learning to trust you as a merch seller and as a designer. And so that's it just makes it a little bit of a harder spot. But I wanted to also just touch a little bit on realistic expectations for you, because, the reality is that on merch, there's, millions and millions of shirts. And if you look at it from that perspective, 10 designs in that vast pool of millions and millions, it's not unrealistic for them not to have had any sales quite yet while you're still learning the craft. Does that make sense? And so the encouraging part for you is that there's so much still that you can learn. And I appreciate that you asked for help with that. And people will weigh in this group. They're really good about helping you out. But I want to give you just a little bit of encouragement that, if those 10 designs didn't sell, that's a great opportunity for you to go back and analyze and think about, what may or may not have been the reason for that. And getting feedback from the group will help with that also. But don't get discouraged by a lack of success. More to the skill to get the results. And I know it's, and that's what it. And that's where grace also comes in. I talk about this a lot with people. I want you to give yourself grace for the fact that if you're new to this platform and you're new to this process, it will take you a while to learn the skill set to see the success that you want. And if you give yourself the grace, that can help with the discouragement by saying, okay, that's all right, because I'm still learning. And I can take this process and say, okay, what did I learn from that? What did I learn from the fact that I had these 10 designs? Well, maybe it wasn't the designs at all. Maybe it was the fact that you needed to tweak your title, or maybe you needed to tweak your bullet points. Maybe you didn't have a full grasp of the landing zone um, idea of how to find these uh, niches that you're looking for. If you look at it from that perspective, you say, well, it's okay. It's all right. I can tell myself, I'm giving myself grace for the fact that I'm in a learning process. And so, I need to give myself some time. And I also want to encourage you very much to continue to ask questions. I think one of the things that I do best when I start a new process on anything that I put my mind to is that I'm always really, really free to ask lots of questions. And I'm never shy about that. I'm never shy about giving my opinion either, but that's we could have a whole nother live on that. But feel free to ask those questions. I encourage you to ask as many as you need in order to get the answers that you need in order to take those steps forward. And so I hope that you are able to take that, ask some specific questions. The guys are right here to answer what you need, and they're very willing to do that. And then Scott had posted about time and going in too many directions, listening to too many different recommendations from people. That's a great one, Scott. That's a really great one, and a lot of people are challenged by that. I'm included. As entrepreneurs, shiny object syndrome is real. It's a real thing, and we're all really challenged by it. But the fact that you recognize that it's a challenge for you is really one of the best things, because you can then be aware of it. I did when I first was doing merch. I had that same issue that you have with time and going in too many directions. And I made a decision to cut out all of the distraction and cut out all of the chatter. And so I left a bunch of groups, and I left a bunch of different trainings and stuff like that. And I focused on the two places where I felt that I could get the best value, where I felt most comfortable, and where I thought they really had a heart for helping me to be successful. This is one of them. And so I can tell you, from my opinion, that you're in the right place for getting, if you come here, you stay here, you just follow this process, and don't get distracted by all of the chatter, that is going to help you a lot. Time is something that, especially now as we're going into the fourth quarter, outside of even any other commitments that you have, it is a challenge. And one of the things that I can just encourage you to do is to maybe schedule specific time for your merch business. Allow that time, and don't get, again, where grace comes in, don't beat yourself up if you can't go beyond that time frame. One of my favorite sayings, I have several that I either have posted somewhere so I can see it, or I just think to myself all the time, is prosper where you're planted. If you're in a place right now in your life where you only have a certain amount of time, then work within what that is, and then base your expectations on the amount of time that you have. And that's going to help you to be able to not get discouraged and to not feel like you're not, getting to where you want to be. And yeah, grasping the research and niching down, again, going back to that skill set, it's something that is a learned skill. And so it's not something that's just going to come overnight. I know I watched the Start Here post on the Wingman Merch Here crew multiple times, multiple times, because that's how I learn best, is when I can watch things over and over and then try them and then watch them some more and figure out, what did I miss the first time. And so, yeah, just going back and continuing to be able to increase your skill set is going to be able to help with that as well. Jessica, you're saying you're struggling to make any sales. Growth is very slow. You've looked at your designs, you've looked at your keywords, and now you're trying different pricing strategies. You're doing everything right, in my opinion. You aren't missing anything. It's, again, going back to skill set. If you're new to this, if it's something that you've never done before, there's a learning curve, and it has to happen. And there's also seasons of selling in merch. Merch is still a relatively new platform, not even relatively, it's still a new platform. And so, there's going to be seasons of ups and downs within that as, Amazon or as merch itself is figuring out how to do their expansions and stuff like that. And so I want to really encourage you that, what you were saying there is that you are doing all of the right things. Going back to grace, give yourself the grace to understand it is a process and that it will take some time, and that's okay, because once all of those pieces fall into place, then those sales are going to start to happen, the increase is going to start to happen, and of course then we get excited, and then we'll be able to apply even more to our business. So you're doing a lot of the really good stuff there, and continue to do that. Continue to ask questions as you're looking at your keywords, as different pricing strategies and things like that. Again, come back and ask questions. Denise, you were saying about designing items. It's an interesting thing for me because I am not a designer. I am not a very creative person. I can be to a point, but I'm certainly not a designer by any stretch of the imagination. And so that I would call that one of my challenges as well. When you get the opportunity and when you are able to fit it into your budget and your time, there are places where you can purchase designs. You can go through the process of maybe hiring a virtual assistant. You can hire somebody in the Philippines for a couple bucks an hour, or maybe $5 per design or $3 per design or whatever it is, that might help you with that. I would also encourage you, though, that the design is only a small piece of it, because you can have the best design in the world, and if you don't have your titles down, if you don't have your bullet points down, nobody will see it, and so it's a moot point. And so if it's a matter of the feeling like you have good designs, I just want to encourage you to spend as much time as possible learning the landing zones and that process, because I can actually, Nate saw one of the ugly shirts that I designed that actually has sold because I had the landing zone down. And so I was able to, after tweaking my titles a little bit and my bullet points a little bit with the search terms within that landing zone, I was actually able to get a sale on an ugly shirt. And it's because there just weren't very many other options for that person, but they wanted a shirt in that landing zone. So that's an example of, while the designs are really important, if nobody sees them, then it really isn't a moot point. So an encouragement from that is to know that, if you get one part of your process really nailed down, then the other part can come along with that, because as you start to get more sales, you'll have more outsource those things that you may not do well. And if it's a matter, Denise, of you're a good designer but you're not able to keep up, then again there are services that can help you with that. In addition to that, Nate and Stephen did a great talk. I think it was in here, not in the VIP group. So guys, hop in and let me know if I'm wrong, about also how to double down on a design that is starting to sell, and how you can spread one design over multiple platforms, over multiple. Stephen talks about it as an asset. So your image is an asset, and you can put that image and that asset in multiple places. And so if it's a matter of not having enough designs, there are also strategies for you to be able to expand out, each design to its full potential. So again, your grace for that is going to be that there are options for you, there's solutions. And that hopefully will give you some encouragement to, again, come and ask the more specific questions about what it is that you need exactly. And Virginia, having trouble with many aspects. It's interesting that you're talking about eyesight, because last night, as you all can tell, I probably should have started with this. We're on the road. And so last night I was trying to do some work on my laptop. My wonderful husband has me all set up in here so I can work on my laptop using my hotspot while we're driving down the road. Life is so good. But I, even with my glasses on, my reading glasses on, it's just like I was kept on trying to increase the size of the font. It's like I can't read this stuff. So yeah, that can be a real challenge. I think I don't know. I'm going to actually defer to Nate and Steven on this about people handling managing your account. I'm a big fan of the buddy system and buddying up with other people in the group. And so, it's a good idea to maybe make this as a post just by itself. And again, Nate and Steven, I'd love for you to weigh in on this to be able to see if there's somebody that you can partner up with. Where you can say, this is an area where I need someone that's stronger, and maybe somebody else is stronger in that area and weaker in a way that you can help them. And so I really appreciate the fact that you have recognized the source of the challenge that you have, and you've found a solution. And hopefully we can help you to be able to find a way to be able to make that happen. So I did, again, this is a little bit different than my usual talk. But I love this post that Nate put in, and I really want to reiterate their love for the community and their love for actually helping you to be successful. That's not just talk that they give. They don't just say that. It's not lip service. They truly mean that. And as the best way that they can continue to help you to be successful is by seeing you in here posting questions and finding out what it is, that you need specific help with, and being able to address that, in a very specific way. I find that for myself, it's really hard sometimes to be able to learn things through generalities. And so if I can take somebody's specific situation and say, okay, in your specific situation, this is what I would do. And so, when you do post your questions, I would just encourage you to be as specific as you can, comfortably be, and it might be a little bit more helpful to you in getting answers that are more specific to your situation and will help you in the long run. So my final bit of encouragement for today is that, first of all, I'm so grateful because my hotspot didn't cut out. We're in the mountains. So that my hotspot didn't cut out while I was trying to do this Facebook Live. I was trying to do a meeting this morning and it just wasn't working for me very well. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm really grateful for this community too. And I hope that you all are enjoying, the encouragement Thursdays that we're getting. And I know I enjoy coming here. So if you listen to this and like it, give me some love. That way Facebook knows that you want to hear from me. They won't hide me from your feed or anything like that. However it is that they do things. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. We are out of town right now, heading to a conference, looking to increase our skill set and to network with other people. So we're going to continue to do the same things that you all are doing right now. So I look forward to talking to everybody next Thursday. I hope you have a wonderful week, and hang in there, guys. We're just beginning. There's so much more that we can do here. Take care. Bye-bye.